The Austin Love Doctor, Episode 008. No Strings Attached, Magic Bullet, and Other Sex Toy Mishaps.
This is Dr. Charles Reynolds, inventor of the O-Shot, and thank you for joining Dr. Emily Porter, the Austin Love Doctor, as she openly discusses your most intimate questions regarding relationships, sex, and personal wellness through the eyes of a medical doctor who treats men and women for a variety of sexual issues using the latest medical advancements available. Get comfortable, relax, and welcome your host, Dr. Emily Porter.
Hi, it's Dr. Emily Porter, the Austin Love Doctor, and today we're going to talk about no strings attached. And normally what that means is people say no strings attached, kind of sex in the sense that you're having a relationship with somebody, sex with somebody without a relationship. But what I mean when I say no strings attached is talk about the danger of putting objects in your vagina or your rectum without having a way to get them out. So I don't recommend that. Anal play can be fun for people, men and women. The prostate certainly is the female equivalent of a G-spot. A lot of men enjoy that, both heterosexual and gay. It's the same for everyone. A lot of women enjoy that. And certainly I think part of growing up and puberty as a young woman is to think about sex and maybe think about what sorts of things could go up there. And I think that's a natural curiosity that a lot of people experiment with, toys and things like that. I've seen a lot of interesting things in vaginas and in rectums in my 12 years, or I guess longer than that, 15 years in the ER and as a med student that got stuck up there. And it's not what people want. You know, the patients are obviously very embarrassed. There's usually some sort of a story that they make up to kind of justify what happened. And, you know, to be honest with you, we just want to help you. Like, we don't care about the story, you know, we just want to be able to help you get out what you stuck up there. So, I mean, I've seen teenage boys with their mom's vibrators stuck up there. I saw a guy once who had a carrot up there, and his story was that, and this is great, that he was making vegetable soup and he happened to be naked while he cooked vegetable soup, and spilled some on the ground while he was making it, and then he got to clean that up. So I think he got the mop out or a rag or something, and was holding a carrot while he was doing it. And then he dropped the carrot and then slipped, and the carrot, you know, exactly lodged up his rectum, just because that's how gravity works, you know, is it when you impale a rectum on a carrot, it doesn't tip over, it just goes right inside. And, you know, you try to be compassionate, and you're like, you really feel bad for this guy because he's having the worst day of his life probably in your ER with a carrot up his ass. But you're kind of like, dude, you think you didn't have to go through all that? Like, I know how it got up there. Either you stuck it up there or somebody else stuck it up there. Let's just cut the shit and get it out, okay? Like, and oftentimes, you know, we can't get the things out. So people are really nervous and they're kind of clamped down. Or it's in the vagina, or it's just out of reach sometimes. I mean, I've seen light bulbs, potato up a woman, an old lady once. They used to use them as pessaries, which are these weights that you could put if you had uterine prolapse to keep the uterus from kind of falling out the vagina. And I guess this lady must have had prolapse for a long time. Well, she was demented and she stuck a potato up there, and she didn't tell anybody, and her caretakers didn't see it. So it was just this odor that she had. Lord knows how long it had been up there. But so every once in a while you see something kind of interesting. People pack drugs up there. That's not as much fun. I saw one time a guy, he was a diabetic, insulin-dependent diabetic. Let me preface this. If you have insulin-dependent diabetes or diabetes of any sort, please don't stick anything up your vagina or your butt or your pee hole, because it's just way more complicated when you don't have a great immune system. So he had a cap to an insulin syringe that he had stuck up his urethra, which is his pee hole, and couldn't get it out. And I couldn't get it out because it was starting to get infected, and, you know, you're at higher risk for infections. And I felt bad for the guy. I'm like, what made you think that was going to feel good? And he said that his partner suggested it, and then he implied that it was not the first time he had done it. And I was like, oh, oh man, you might want to get your kicks another way for a while. My own personal story, because I like to be real here, is that this actually happened to me once. I went to a sex store in New York City with a friend, and we were in Manhattan, and it was this really upscale place. She suggested we go. I don't remember what it was called, but it was something kind of cutesy, like the Pretty Kitty or the Pink Pussycat or something like that. And it was on the third floor of an apartment building, one of those buildings in New York. I went in there and we were looking at stuff and we picked out some toys. And I think it was one of those buy this, get this free sort of thing. And the lady behind the counter, she said, oh yeah, you can get this little magic bullet. And it was this little silver vibrator, maybe, I don't know, about 2 inches long. And it had a little button that you pushed on it and it made it vibrate. And it was supposed to be sort of a clitoral vibrator or whatever. I've seen them with remotes before. But she said that you could just pop it in. That's how she said it, just so casual like that. And she goes, yeah, you can just pop it in whenever you want. And she told me that she had just popped hers in on the subway that morning. And I was like, oh, okay. So we get home and my friend Teresa and her boyfriend were making dinner. And I don't know what made me just pop it in. I just thought I would just give it a try. So I take this thing, I turn it on and I stick it up there and I couldn't get it out at all. Like I tried everything. And the problem is that your opposable thumbs are not very long. So I tried to stick my third fingers up there and it just kept spinning around and I couldn't pull it out. And now I'm panicking and thinking, oh my God. And I think I was on my ER rotation in a Brooklyn hospital, in a hospital in the Bronx. And I was sure that I was going to have to go to the ER because I didn't live there. I didn't have a primary care doctor or a gynecologist. And so I was worried that I'm going to have to be in an ER with the vaginal foreign body at an ER where I was working and I was going to be, HIPAA, we protect HIPAA, but you still don't even want to have to be a patient in your own ER. It's not fun. So I'm panicking. So I get Teresa and I'm like, Teresa, come here. And she comes and I take her in the bathroom and I close the door and I told her to be quiet and just listen. And she hears this vibration because this thing is like behind my pubic symphysis, which is your pelvic bone. And you can hear it just like rattling on there. And it does not feel good. Okay. It never felt good. And now it really didn't feel good because now I was all stressed out about it. I couldn't get it out. And this was all probably happened over the course of about 5 minutes, but it seemed like it was 3 hours, And so I said, she goes, is that what I think it is? And I go, yeah. And she goes, you put it inside? And I go, yeah, the lady, didn't you hear her? She said, you just pop it in. And she goes, why would you do that? And I go, she just said, just pop it in. She goes, oh my God. I go, I can't get it out. And she says, okay. And she's a very smart woman. So she says, okay, here's what you're going to do. I've got some Epsom salt. Let me get you some Epsom salt and make you a bath. And I was like, well, that's all well and good, Teresa, but I don't have a sprained ankle. I have this magic bullet stuck in my vagina. What's Epsom salt going to do? And she goes, well, it'll just help you relax. I had tried birthing this thing out. I tried everything. Anyway, I relaxed in the bath. I did the Epsom salt. Teresa's a genius. I got the magic bullet out and all was well. But I learned my lesson, which was to never, ever put something in that you don't have a way to get out in any hole. And so what that means is get something that has a wider base than the hole you're putting it in. Have some sort of, don't stick it in all the way. They tend to be lubricated and they just sort of slide in. So they do make, butt plugs and vibrators and bullets and prostate toys and all these things. But even if you think you're experienced, just especially if you're inexperienced, just make sure that whatever you get, you have a way to get out. Because what happens if we can't get it out in the ER, if you can't get it at home and you go in the ER, sometimes it's just out of reach or people are just so nervous that they're just clamped down. And I very, very rarely could actually get something out. I had shampoo bottles. There was a can of air freshener. You name it, it was up there. And you often can't reach it even with a speculum or with grabbers. And so what happens is you end up sometimes just going to the operating room and they don't have to do any surgery most of the time, but the anesthesiologist will just give you some medication to make you sleepy and relax. And sometimes things will come out or sometimes they have to actually paralyze you and then, put a tube down or put a mask on you to breathe for you. And then just relaxing the muscles will make everything come out. But it's a really, really expensive lesson to learn. So here I just saved you probably, $5,000 at least. If you have a high deductible insurance plan, don't stick stuff up your butt or your pee hole or your vagina unless you are for sure that it can't get stuck up there. That's my PSA for the day. This is Dr. Porter, the Austin Love Doctor, and I hope you learned something. Be safe out there.
Thank you for joining Dr. Emily Porter, the Austin Love Doctor. If you have a question about your relationship or sexuality, please feel free to contact her directly at austinlovedoctor.com.